In this video, we will go over how to run a small-scale column chromatography using a pipette. To run a column, you will need 3 pasture pipettes, 2 pipette bulbs, cotton, silica, sand, eluent, and test tubes or flasks to collect the fractions. There are 4 steps in running a column. First is to pack the column, followed by loading the sample, eluting the column, and finally isolating the purified compound. To pack a column, start by plugging a pasture pipette with a piece of cotton. Do not pack it too tightly or it will be more difficult to elute the column later. Next, fill the pipette with silica. This can be done by using the pipette as a scooper. Silica is a respiratory irritant and must be used in the hood. Once you have enough silica, tap or shake the pipette to even out the top of the silica. On top of the silica, a layer of sand will be added. The sand will act as a buffer that prevents the silica from being disrupted during dilution, which could affect the separation. Using a weighing paper as a funnel, gently add enough sand to form a layer about 1/4 inch thick. Next, add eluent to the column. Note that the eluent can be added to the top of the pipette, even past the indent. Then place the pipette bulb over the top and force the eluent through. Do not release the bulb until it has been removed from the column. The goal of this step is to push out as much air as possible. This is done most efficiently by applying as much pressure as possible on the bulb. Once the air is removed from the column, the silica will appear more translucent. In this column, the top third is translucent, but the bottom 2/3 still has air. Adding more eluent and pushing it through should be repeated until most of the air has been removed. From this point on, do not let the silica dry or air will be introduced back into the column. Once the column is packed, the sample is loaded. In this video, the sample will be wet loaded. Dissolve a small scoopful of sample in solvent. It is important not to use more than a scoopful or you may overload the column and get incomplete separation. During the step, keep an eye on the column and add more eluent as needed to prevent it from drying. When the solution is ready to be loaded, allow the solvent level to drop to the top of the silica. Remember that the sand can dry, but not the silica. Add the solution of sample onto the column. Allow the solution to enter the silica, then quickly add eluent and begin eluting. During the elution, eluent is continually added while those coming off the column are collected as fractions. The fractions are collected in test tubes or flasks depending on the size of the column and the degree of separation. Remember to stop pushing the solvent through before it gets to the top of the silica. Failure to do so dries out the column and can interfere with the separation. Also, remember to keep applying pressure to the pipette bulb until it has been removed from the column. Watch what happens when the bulb is released prematurely. Once the elution is complete, the fractions are tested by TLC to see where each compound is located. In this example, fractions 2 through 5 contain the purified top spot, fraction 7 contains the purified bottom spot, and 6 contains both compounds and thus is not purified. The final step is to isolate the purified compound by removing the eluent. Bring a beaker of water to a boil. Place the fractions containing the purified compounds in a watch glass on the beaker. Once the solvent has evaporated, only the purified compound remains. To dispose of the column, first push out most of the solvent, then place the entire pipette in the silica waste. To run a column successfully, remember these tips. First, don't overload the column or the separation may not be complete. Drying out the silica portion of the column may also affect the separation, so continually add eluent to prevent this. Finally, don't release the pipette bulb until it has been removed from the pipette or the entire column may be disrupted.